If you really want to make your bag a statement piece, make it actually say something. Hi, I'm Ashley Thompson and I am continuing my obsession with crocheted summer accessories with this crocheted market bag that you can personalize with any words you want. First, I'm going to show you the basic stitches that you need and how to adjust the pattern to make this bag with any word, name, or phrase. And then I'm going to walk you through exactly how I made this oui ou non bag. Obviously, I used French words parce que je préfère parler en français. And if you love making stylish apparel and home decor items, make sure you click on that subscribe button below this video. I am a designer at my very core and I can't stop creating fun projects, and I love bringing them to my channel so that I can show you how to make all of them too. To make this bag, you need yarn that is 100% cotton, something that is a nice medium weight. I used yarn by this brand, Lily's Sugar and Cream, but I would recommend using a white or cream color to really make your letters pop. You also need a medium crochet hook, something like a size H, and a tapestry needle to sew the bottom of your bag closed when you're done. You can use whatever you want for the straps. I cut down pieces of leather that I already had. You could also repurpose some leather straps from an old bag you aren't using anymore, or you could crochet straps or use a rope cord too. And if you want to design your own custom bag with the words or names of your choice, you will also need a piece of graphing paper and a pencil. I'm going to start by just explaining how this pattern works so that you can adjust it any way you want. The base pattern for this bag creates these nice open weave squares. It's a simple double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, double crochet pattern. And whenever you want to fill in a space to create a letter, instead of chaining 2 and skipping 2 to create that open square, you simply do a double crochet into each of the 2 chain stitches from your prior row. Either way, each square is 3 stitches wide, and most letters are 3 squares wide and 4 squares tall, with a few exceptions of course. And I always put 2 open squares as spaces between each letter. All of this matters when you are figuring out how big to make your bag and how to lay out your letters. I'm going to show you more clearly what I mean on a piece of graphing paper. Here I have laid out each letter of the alphabet on graph paper. Each square represents 1 open square of my crochet pattern, so a total of 3 stitches wide. I've done letters that fit into my average 3 space wide and 5 space tall pattern in blue, and letters that fall outside that space in red so that it's easy for me to identify where I might have to make some adjustments. You can take a screenshot here of these letters to use at your convenience, and I will post them to my blog aloplum.com. You can also search for cross-stitching alphabet patterns to find a variety of different fonts and letter examples that will work in this situation too. Now I'll show you an example of laying out a word. Here I have the word bonjour. Now, most of my letters are a standard size, but the B has a tall line and the J dips below my main line and is dotted higher. Also, I have spaced the J in so that it looks evenly spaced in my word, but you can see that if the tail of the J was up higher, it would eliminate the space between the N and the J. This is why it's important to try laying your word out on paper before you start crocheting. That way you can always make some adjustments before you put too much work in. Trust me, I've ripped out a lot of stitches during this project. Once you lay out your word, you can count each space to know how wide and how tall you have to make your bag. And remember, each of the spaces is 3 crochet stitches wide. Now, bonjour written all the way across would make a very wide bag, so it might be a good idea to break up the word like this. Now you can see that the letters are 18 spaces tall and 18 spaces wide. And remember that each space wide is really 3 stitches. So how do you find out how wide to make your bag? To figure out how many chains you need to start with, first take the number of spaces wide you need to make your word or phrase, and multiply that by 3. This is how many you would need to chain to simply make the word. So here we have 18 spaces across, multiplied by 3 stitches a space to get 54 stitches. Then you need to account for a few spaces before and after your word. So if you use 3 spaces on each side of your word, for example, you will take that total 6 spaces, multiply it by 3 stitches in each space, and get 18. Now remember, you also have a front and a back to your bag, so then if you have your 54 stitches for the word plus 18 stitches for the spaces before and after, equaling 72, and then you multiply that by 2 to account for the back side of your bag, you get 144. That means your initial chain to start your bag needs to be 144 stitches. So now that you hopefully understand how this pattern works, you will be better able to adjust it to say anything. I'm probably going to make the next one with my daughter's name on it so she can have a fun personalized bag too. But once you get started, if you do have any questions or you need any help, drop me a comment below this video. I will get back to you as soon as I can and try to walk you through anything that I didn't make very clear here. Now I'm going to walk you step by step through the pattern I used to make my bag. I've laid out the letters for we, oo, no on a piece of graphing paper here. And if I count the spaces, I have 11 spaces. Times 3 stitches a space equals 33 stitches. And I'm going to have a total of 5 spaces cushioning the edge of my bag, so 5 times 3 stitches per space equals 15, plus my 33 stitches for my word, and I have 48 stitches. Take that times 2 for a front and a back, and I have 96 stitches I need to chain. I'm going to take my 100% cotton yarn, again in a light cream color so that my words really pop. I'm just going to do a slip knot over my size 8 crochet hook, and then I'm going to start my bag by chaining 96. So now I've done a slip stitch into that very first stitch from my chain, and I'm just going to chain 1. And I'm going to do a row of single crochet across the entire round. And that's going to be the top of my bag, and it's going to have just that nice edging of having that single crochet on it. So now I've gone all the way around my first row with a single crochet, and I'm ready to start what's going to be the main pattern for my bag. I've just slip stitched into that first stitch as I came around, and now I am going to chain 2 as I would anytime I'm doing a double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 2 more so that I have the ability to create that first square right away. Then yarn over, skip 2 stitches, and insert your hook into that third stitch. Grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is going to make that first square. When I come all the way back around, I am going to slip stitch into the second chain here, and that's going to really define that first square. So now I'm going to continue on by, again, chaining 2, skip the next 1, 2 stitches, yarn over, insert your hook, grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's my second. I'm going to keep going like this all the way around my bag, and again when I come back to the end, I will slip stitch into the second chain from the bottom, and then I will again chain 4, skip 2, and do a double crochet back into this double crochet from this row. You can do however many rows of this you want before you start crocheting in your words. It just kind of depends on how long you want your bag to be and how much space you want before your words start. Row 6 is going to be the row where I add the dot for my eye. So I started this off and I chained 4, skipped 2, did a double crochet, and then I did my chain 2 double crochet here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. And so into this square here, I am going to do my double crochet right into the chain instead of skipping 2, and that's what's going to fill it in. So I have yarned over, and I'm going to insert my hook into that first chain. And it's kind of hard to get into these chains sometimes, but make sure you get both loops. And then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then I'm going to yarn over and do my next double crochet into that second chain. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now I'm going to be back at the double crochet from the row below, so I'm going to do yarn over and double crochet right into that same stitch. like I always do. And now I've filled in the first square for my eye, and I'm going to continue around the rest of this row just as I did in the previous rows. I'm going to go all the way around, and then I'll be ready for my next row. My next row is going to be all open squares so that I have a row of open squares spaced between the dot of my eye and the actual line of the eye. But I'll show you what I'm going to do when I get back to this space where I filled it in, just so that you know. So now I've reached the point where I have my square that's filled in for the dot of my eye. So I've just chained 2, and I'm going to double crochet into that first double crochet. And that one lines up with all these double crochets. And now instead of going into the next 2 double crochets, because I want this to be an open square, I chain 2, skip those 2 double crochets, and do a double crochet into this last double crochet here. And that will start to open up that box for me again. See? Now I'm just going to continue going around with open squares the rest of this round, and we'll be ready to start the next round. So to start the next row, I have started with 3 of my open squares, and now I'm going to do the first part of my O. So I'm going to do a double crochet into that first chain here, not skipping any chains so that it gets filled in. Double crochet into the second, and then double crochet into the double crochet from the row below. Since my O is filled in all the way across the top, my next 2 squares are going to also be filled in that same way. So double crochet into each of the 2 chains as we go across, and the double crochets from the row below. So double crochet into that chain, second chain, and double crochet into that double crochet stitch. Last one, double crochet into the chain, and into the second chain. Get both of those loops there, and then into the double crochet. And that's filled in 3 squares for the top of my O. And then just continue with your pattern doing 2 open squares, and then for the U you will do a closed square, open square, closed square, 2 open squares, and then the I is a closed square again. I've started my next row here. This is the second row of what most of these letters are. So with your O, this row it's going to be a filled in square, and then an open square, and then a filled in square to start creating the center of that O. So I've already done the double crochet into that first double crochet, and I will double crochet into the second one. And this is easier now because I'm not trying to go into the chains. And then double crochet into that next one. And then double crochet into the next stitch. And you know where you're double crocheting because that stitch is the one that lines up with all the rows before it. So that's how you know that that's your box. So that square is now filled in for the side of the O. But now to start leaving a gap, I'm going to do my chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and then chain into that third double crochet. And you can see that third double crochet is the one that lines up with all of these as well. And it now has an open box for me. Now this last square of my O is filled in again as it's the other side, so I'm going to do a double crochet into the next double crochet, a double crochet into the next double crochet, and a double crochet into that last double crochet. Now I'm to the 2 spaces between my letters again, so chain 2, double crochet into that double crochet from the row before, chain 2, and the U keeps its same shape here, so a closed square, open square, closed square, and then the I is just one closed square again. Now you just need to keep following the pattern in that same way until you get to the end. And here are all the letters crocheted into my bag. I will have this image and also the images of the graph paper that I use to lay out these letters and all of my alphabet available on my website, aloplum.com. When I was finished, I just flipped my bag inside out and sewed the bottom together with a tapestry needle. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you can make the straps out of anything you want. I did make mine out of some scrap leather I already had. I used an engineer square to just make sure I had nice straight edges, and then I cut two 24-inch long straps. Then I just looped the ends of the straps through the top holes in my bag, and I sewed them together with a little bit of wax thread and a leather needle. Et voila! My easy and personalized crochet market bag that always makes a statement. And don't forget, did you like this tutorial? Oui? Then like this video too. Click on that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my upcoming tutorials. And if you have any questions while making this, drop me a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Happy crocheting, see you soon. I almost said happy hooking. Happy crocheting. Should I put it in my bag? Oui ou no? See, this bag helps me shop. I should have just made a oui bag. Just oui. Do I need this? Oui.